What's up, YouTube? Just jumping on here for a few minutes to talk about the breaking news today in boxing that Ryan Garcia has tested positive for a banned substance. I apologize for the video quality of this video. I'm here in Las Vegas for the Canelo Alvarez-Jaime Munguia fight. Did not expect to be doing a video, but here we are. Big news in boxing. Ryan Garcia testing positive for a banned substance. So let's start with what we know. We know the banned substance that Ryan tested positive for is called isostarine, which is an anabolic agent. This result came from two tests that were administered by the voluntary anti-doping agency, one that came a day before the April 20th fight against Devin Haney. One came, I'm reading it as the day of or the night of, in the aftermath of that fight. And we should say right off the top that Ryan has denied taking anything illegal. He has denied taking anything that might have contained isostarine in it, and he's been very firm in those denials. We should also say that even though there have been a lot of questions about why this result is just being revealed now, some 10 days after the fight with Garcia and Haney took place. These tests are comprehensive. The samples that get taken on a specific day are not tested on site. They are sent off to a lab where they are tested anywhere from a few days to a couple of weeks after the event take place. So it's not abnormal to find out about the results of a test a week, 10 days, 2 weeks after a fight has taken place. The timing is not suspect at all. So what do we know about isostarine? That's something every reporter out there has tried to dig into over the last few hours. So on the NIH website, it says pretty plainly that isostarine is used as a physical performance enhancing agent. Isostarine is also classified as an S1 anabolic agent category of the WADA prohibited list. That's the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list. According to the U.S. anti-doping website, isostarine is not available in everyday products because it is not approved for human consumption. So any product that contains isostarine is, by definition, an illegal supplement. I've seen Victor Conti, the former Balco founder, who has become something of a whistleblower of sorts in the boxing drug space, says that isostarine is similar to steroids, but has a reputation of being safer than steroids. So that's kind of a quick primer on what isostarine is. Now, there's also a history of isostarine in boxing. In 2016, Lucien Boutte tested positive for isostarine following his title fight against Badu Jack. The outcome of that fight was changed by the DC Athletic Commission from a draw to a DQ win for Badu Jack. More recently, Amir Khan, he tested positive for isostarine following his loss to Kell Brook back in 2022. He was given a 2-year ban, and Amir, for many reasons, has decided not to fight again. So what does all this mean? Well, for now, it tangibly means nothing. The New York State Athletic Commission is going to get with VADA. They are going to investigate. Ryan has the right to have his B sample tested, which will take some time because this is going to be a process. Plus, as we've seen in the past, just because a guy tests positive doesn't mean that the boxing powers that be will do the right thing or do anything about it. I mean, look, Conor Benn tested positive for a banned substance a couple of years ago. He has never officially been punished. Last year, Alicia Baumgardner tested positive for a banned substance. Both times, in the case of Benn and Baumgardner, the WBC, a sanctioning body, cleared the fighters. The state of Michigan, which had jurisdiction over Baumgardner's test, they did absolutely nothing, and they still have been quiet on the results of that. Now, I do think that New York will do a pretty thorough investigation. New York is a serious commission. New York, Nevada, California, to a degree, Texas. These are real combat sports commissions. And there have been some ugly incidents in New York where fighters got seriously hurt. So New York, I think they are going to look out for the safety of the fighter and do a pretty thorough investigation into all this and come up with some results. Let's just say that. And look, if it's true that this substance was in Ryan Garcia's system, I think they're going to throw the book at him. Look, this was a tough fight. This was a physical fight. Devin took a beating in this fight. He got knocked down 3 times. He got hurt several times more. If it turns out that Ryan had a steroid in his system, I don't think the state commission has any choice but to come down pretty hard on him. I mean, that scenario likely means overturning the result. It likely means slapping Ryan with a fine, and it likely means hitting him with a pretty serious suspension. 6 months at a minimum, could be a year, could be more. It depends on what the New York Commission finds in its investigation. Now, you are starting to see some breadcrumbs about what the defense will be from Ryan Garcia. Golden Boy put out a statement. I'm going to read it to you. The statement read, Ryan has put out multiple statements, so their statement is referring to Ryan's statements. Ryan has put out multiple statements denying knowingly using any banned substances, and we believe him. We are working with his team to determine how this finding came to be, and we'll address this further once we conclude that process. So they seem to be starting to make the story that, yes, he had this stuff in his system, but he didn't do it intentionally, which anyone that follows boxing, combat sports, this is a pretty tried and true defense in situations like this. We do not know how much of this substance was in Ryan's system, which could make a significant difference here during the investigation. Was it trace amounts that could potentially be explained away? Was it a large amount that really can't be explained away? There's also a reference in the VADA report that there could have been another banned substance in his system. It's a little vague, so we're going to leave that alone for now, but that's certainly worth watching. Either way, to me, it doesn't really matter how the substance got into his system. Athletes are responsible for what goes in their bodies. Victor Conti said this, and I agree with it. You really shouldn't be taking anything that you can't get at a CVS or a Walgreens. If you do, you're putting yourself at risk. Simple as that. Now, the Devin Haney side is furious. You saw Devin, he put out a statement criticizing Ryan. I had a brief conversation with Bill Haney, the father and trainer and manager of Devin, and he was, quite frankly, distraught in our phone call. He was upset for his fighter, who was already at a disadvantage, fighting a guy who came in 3+ pounds over the 140-pound limit, and he was devastated and concerned for his son, who took a pretty good beating from a man who now allegedly was using performance enhancers. So there's a lot of anger inside Team Haney right now that I think you're going to hear a lot more of in the days to come. And look, for Ryan, this is going to be, or could be, I should say, tough to come back from. You know, if it turns out to be accurate, again, he could be facing a lengthy suspension. And if there is not a reasonable explanation for how the substance got into his system, this is something that's going to follow him for a long time. We're always going to be talking about it when we talk about him. Again, there's a process he has to go through, and there's a lot more information we're going to get in the days ahead about the substances, about the amount of substances, the possibilities of what could have caused these positive tests. These are all going to come. But right now, what was an incredible 10-day stretch for Ryan Garcia, where he was on a victory tour, had reemerged as one of the biggest stars in boxing, that has been completely wiped away while we wait to see how this story keeps out. So keep an eye on it, our coverage here. Subscribe to the YouTube page if you have not already. Listen to the podcast. We'll be talking about there more during the week, and, of course, over at SI.com.